Hey, we're live, I think. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. It's BOLES .television. Now, we've been away for just a little bit, and I have to do this test because this always happens. Whenever we're not on for a little bit, everything gets redone, so I'm turning this up to see if I have to do this test. Okay, so you can hear me, you can see me. My eye filter is working great. That always makes me look at you even when I'm not looking at you. So here we are. Hey, where have we been? Well, first of all, I got a little ill, and so did my wife, which is very weird because it's been 3 years, probably more, since either of us have been sick. And then she got sick, and 3 days later I got sick. Now, you immediately think of COVID, which I did, and she didn't. And I could not stop sneezing for about 3 days. Now, when I sneeze very loudly like a monsoon, and as 23andMe has confirmed, in my DNA, I don't sneeze just once. When I sneeze again, and I sneeze again. Believe it or not, there are people who don't sneeze just once. They sneeze 3 times. And it's not a lot of fun, but that's what's going on. So not only am I just, sneezing once in a while, I'm sneezing 3 times every once in a while for 3 days with no end. And it was very raw, but I didn't get a sore throat. It didn't become a chest cold. It was just, I guess, a head cold. I could not smell anything for about 2 weeks after, and then I could. And I never lost my sense of taste, which is weird because you think they kind of go together. So far, I did a couple of COVID tests, completely negative. It was just a weird thing. And then my beloved, my sweetheart Jana Marie, had an accident in New York City at the Paths train station. I believe 9th Street, which has a very steep kind of curve, stairs. Yeah. And somebody who was in a big hurry gave her a nice push in the back, and she fell very hard and hurt her toe, both knees, her wrist, her fingers, and her shoulder socket. And she was very lucky that 2 young Asian men saw what happened and came to her and stood over her because she's, on the stairs, not moving, and there are people trying to go down the stairs and try to go up the stairs, and they want to stomp on her so they can get there faster. And these 2 very young, nice Asian men stood on each side of her and protected her. And we mentioned that they're Asian men because in New York City there has been sort of a outbreak, especially during COVID, the China flu, right, as Donald Trump says, has affected some people who just go up to Asian people on the street and punch them in the face. And it's usually an elderly Asian man or woman who gets punched in the face. They get knocked out. You see it on the street cams. And so they have a cultural sensitivity to someone who has been knocked down on the street. And I guess their instinct was just to come and help her. And so they stood over her and, left her alone, because when you get knocked over, you don't know where you are. She did not hit her head, which is the first question everybody asks, from friends to bosses to doctors. And the answer is she did not hit her head, but she landed very hard on her arm. So they helped her up, made sure she was okay. She went on her way. And for the next day and a half, I fell and she was fine. I guess it's adrenaline that just keeps you going. And then a day or 2 later, she just couldn't really move. Her knees were sort of locked and bleeding and now very bruised. Her arm socket was very painful. And when you use sign language to communicate in your personal life, in your professional life, and you can't lift your arm to sign and you're just signing with one arm, and there are one-armed people in the deaf community who sign with one arm, but it makes it a little difficult. And, you know, when you're out in the real world in New York City, you have to push open a door, you have to hold onto a handrail, you have to hold onto a pole on the subway if you can't get a seat, you have to tap your card, you have to swipe your card. There's a lot of things going on that you don't think of when your arm hurts. But the biggest advantage, blessing perhaps, in the whole terrible escapade is that she did not hurt in a terrible way. Like, she didn't break an ankle or hurt her leg severely, because you can survive in New York City with a bad arm, but you really, really cannot get around, let alone survive daily, if you have a bad leg. It's really impossible. I mean, if you have a cane or a walking stick and that works, maybe one crutch you could do it. But if you're on two crutches, if you're in a wheelchair, good luck, because you're going to have a very hard time getting around. So in some ways that was good. But so for a couple of weeks I was very sick, couldn't talk very well, couldn't do the show. And then my beloved got injured, and I felt, we have fun on the show. We talk about things, we yell, we have outrage. And I just didn't feel it was appropriate to come here and, rail against the world while my sweetheart is in the other room in pain. And of course, there's nothing I can do except sit there and ask her what she needs. But I can't do that if I'm here live streaming with you. So that's sort of what's been going on, and it's delightful to be back. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm really hot right now. I'm sweating. What's going on? Well, it's 85 degrees outside, and it's what? The middle of April? We're not even into May yet, right? I just checked. It's 85 degrees outside, and in this room with all the lights, the cameras, the action, the computer, it's 80 degrees. Now, should I turn on the air conditioning? Probably. Should I turn on the little fan I have over here? I should have. But all morning I've had all the windows open, turned on the fans. Oh, what a wonderful, beautiful day. And right across the street they're building a building. So they're pounding in pylons, pillars, whatever they call them, all day and all night, 7 in the morning till 7 at night. I don't know how they get away with that. It should be, 8 to 5, but they don't. And now they're using horns. And not, like a car horn, but an air horn. Every 10 minutes. I guess that I thought was like when they're doing TNT stuff, which is very common in this area because there's a lot of bedrock. So if you want to pound a pillar into the ground deep for structural integrity, you usually have to use TNT to blow up the boulders that are sitting there in your way. So that's been an adventure, because once oh gosh, the show is starting. I guess I should go close the windows so we can't hear the explosions or the pounding or the honking, and turn off the fans because they make a whirring sound. And my PC is right here and I can hear it trying to cool itself, and it's not doing a very good job. And if I turn on this little fan, then it makes terrible noise that, the microphone picks up, and it's just terribly concerning. So I guess for now I sit here and I sweat. And I even, before the show started, I went and got this beautiful black towel. Because I said, okay, if I start sweating too much, I put the towel on and mop up the sweat. So another little thing that my delightful Jan Marie gave me, and I've been waiting to show this to you because it's so sweet and so cute. and she got it at a little corner store in Manhattan, and it's a little kitty. Our focus isn't quite right because of this weird camera we have, but it's a little porcelain kitty for good luck and happiness. I appreciate it. I love it. It's right here, right by my side, every day, smiling at me, even when we're dealing with all the other terrible stuff. Now, what else is going on? Well, it's last time since we spoke, we discovered Midjourney, which is our favorite AI bot. It's expensive, but you get what you pay for. There are other bots out there that are free, like Stable Horde, but that takes a lot of work, and you have to be a computer expert to even begin using it because you have to install all kinds of weird things. Then there's DALL-E, which is, like what Midjourney was a year ago, and you pay for that one too. And you pay, and you don't get very good results. Midjourney, if you know how to speak to the bot, you can get pretty good results pretty easily. So we've been sharing a lot of information and images from Midjourney since we were last together. And we have also added a new streaming partner called Kick. Kick. Now, what, you may ask, is Kick? Well, I'll show it to you. It's just another streaming platform, like Twitch, and this is us, live and in person, on what appears to be Kick. I'm trying to see if it's if the closed captions are working. For some reason, I really can't tell. We should make this bigger. Oh, it's a little bigger. Send a message, start a conversation. So this is Kick. So it's like Twitch, YouTube, Trovo, all the others. It's another streaming service. Now, what is Kick? Now, this is starting to make me a little dizzy. We should send ourselves a message, a chat message. Hi, chat. Hi, chat. This is our first broadcast on, what is this? Kick. Sorry. Boom. And then I guess you send this. And this does not work with our current setup with a Restream because it's brand new. But I guess that's what it looks like. Boles TV, hey, chat. And then this keeps telling me my pages have nothing on it. So what am I supposed to put in? What does it want from me? Panel title? Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to do that now. Okay, we'll fix that later. I don't even know what a panel is. We don't know much about them, but they're great. Okay, thank you. So this is where it gets really interesting about Kick. It appears there are several major streamers. We're currently on Twitch, like Lang Buddha and Hikaru Nakamura. And they are slowly moving away from Twitch over to Kick. And they do it rather deceptively. Like Lang Buddha says, he's has health problems, health issues, had brain surgery for seizures. That's all true. But he says, he can only stream for 4 hours a day. So he streams, for 4 hours a day on Twitch. Then he takes about a half-hour break, an hour break, and then magically he's on for another, 2, 3, 4 hours on Kick. Now, if you are one of his 8,000 subscribers, you would think, now, wait a minute here, Buddha. I'm paying you $5 a month to watch you on Twitch, and of the 8 hours you're streaming today, despite your illness, you're only giving me 4 hours, and you're giving the other 4 hours away for free on Kick. Now, how is that fair, Mr. Buddha? When you used to do a full 8 hours right here? It's a good question. And the same thing for Hikaru Nakamura, who has 10,000 subscribers at $5 a pop. Right? Do the math. Now, Twitch recently changed its terms of service where streamers, the big streamers, not this kind of streamer, would get a 70% cut of subscriptions and other items. And Twitch would take 30. And then recently, Twitch decided we need more money, so we're changing the ratio from 70-30 to 50-50, which to me seems fair. Whenever I do collaborations with people, I always say, let's do 50-50. And usually if you're working with a more experienced person, they want a bigger cut. And now that I'm old and I'm the more experienced person, I don't feel right saying, look, I'm older, I have more experience, so I get 70, you get 30. I don't know how you can do that in good consciousness, with a good conscience, because it immediately creates tension. Where I should be doing 70% of the work and my collaborator should be doing 30. Well, that doesn't sound fair. If it's a collaboration, it should be 50-50, fair, equal across the board. But I can understand if you're Buddha, or if you're Hikaru Nakamura, you don't want to give back 20% of the money that you've been earning since you've been streaming for 5 years. So it looks like what they're doing is Buddha is slowly moving from Twitch to Kick, and Hikaru is moving mainly to Kick, and once in a while, when he's on doing, like Tilted Tuesday, Titled Tuesday, on chess.com, he'll go back to Twitch, stream that, and then leave, and then go back to Kick. Now, why is this happening? Well, there's that 50-50, 70-30 split thing. And then it gets even more interesting because for a while, there were gambling streams on Twitch. And a lot of kids watch Twitch. And a lot of the big streamers were getting paid big money from casinos to play these virtual games on their live streams. And the kids would watch and find ways to sign up, even though they're too young. And the way that they got these big streamers to gamble on their live streams was to say, we'll give you a cut of every dollar spent. Now, if you gamble anything, the house always wins in the end. So what these major streamers are doing is selling out to the gambling community and making a profit on the losses of their viewers, many of whom were young and inexperienced in the ways of gambling, which is very addictive. I don't gamble at all on anything because my life as a writer and a performer has a gamble every day. Every day you're on the edge of your seat. Am I going to win or am I going to lose? It's enough. I don't need other excitement in my life. So Twitch clamped down on the gambling because Twitch is owned by Amazon. And they said, look, we have young viewers. We're not getting a cut of the gambling money that you're getting. And oh, by the way, you know how it was 70-30 and now 50-50? When you do sponsorship deals, like with gambling casinos or food delivery services or a computer company or a VPN company, we want half of that as well. And that's turned off and angered a lot of the mainstream Twitch streamers. So that's where it gets really interesting, because once Twitch said no more gambling, or as XQC calls it, gamba, after that was sort of, I guess, outlawed, a lot of money was at stake, and a lot of the big streamers who had kind of changed all their streams from chatting with people and playing games to just gambling got very angry. They said, look, you're taking half my money, you want half my endorsement deals, and why should I stay here? So I guess what happened is one of the big streamers who had a lot of big gambling casinos behind him decided to go out and start this competing streaming service called Kick. And as I understand it, there's a lot of money behind Kick. It's in beta, as we saw when we took a look at our screen. And they want to bring over, steal, coerce, bribe, pay off as many big name streamers from Twitch and probably other places, Facebook, YouTube, as they can, and bring them over to Kick so they stream part-time or exclusively on Kick. And, the rumors you hear are the big streamers were paid a lot of money up front to, leave behind their $25,000 a month payments from Twitch because they're getting more on Kick because it's all gambling money. So if you want gambling shows, and I guess some people say like soft porn, all that is fair game on Kick. And you can't do any of that really on Twitch. So when you see your favorite streamers leave Twitch and go to Kick, and right now I don't believe Kick has advertising, doesn't have subscriptions, you can just watch and watch and watch. So you think, well, how is that possible? Where is the money coming from? How are the streamers getting paid for their time? And then you hear, it's the gambling community that's behind the whole system. Then you start to understand that these people fully or partially sold their soul to the gambling community. And it's a little disappointing. Well, why are you on Kick? Well, I'm on Kick because it's getting more popular. But they're not paying me anything, and I'm not paying anybody anything, and as you can see, chat doesn't even work yet for Kick. So it's interesting that Hikaru moved from Twitch to Kick because Hikaru got his start on Twitch. He's their biggest chess streamer around. Buddha is very popular on Twitch. And it hurts a little bit when, you see him interacting on Twitch, watching on Twitch, a different streamer, and Buddha shows up and it's like, where did you come from? You're not streaming live. Oh, you're streaming on Kick. That's what's going on. So that's my rant about Kick, and here I am streaming on Kick. So take it as you wish and as you will. But there's no gamba here, my dear friend. Now we're going to talk a little bit about scams. Today's Human Me podcast that is broadcast is about the Uber street scam that was played against my beautiful, lovely wife, Jana Marie Sweetheart. And you can listen to it at humanmeme.com. That's HUMANMEME.com. Not Mimi, not May, but meme. Now, the first scam I received in the mail yesterday. I'll just show it to you so you can see that it's, this official looking piece of paper. And it's all about a tax credit. It's tax time. Now, if you haven't filed your taxes by now, I would say, oh no, things are not going well for you, are they? And so, I'm looking at my Discord. We're supposed to be streaming to Discord. I just want to see. Live chat does not appear to be chatting. And this, I don't know why. So anyway, here we go. So this is, I don't even know who it's from. Estimated National Tax Credits is who this paper letter is from. Telling me, David Boles, as the owners of David Boles Books, Writing, and Publishing, they estimate that I can get, as a tax credit, $286,000. Now that's funny. And how many people do you think go and fill this out to see if they can get the money? Now, one or two things are happening. Either you go and you fill all this out, COVID-19 money, right? You go and you fill it out, and they're either stealing your information or they're going to try to, swindle you into signing up for something, and they get half of the money, you get some of the money, and then you're responsible for all of the money. So my tax refund credit is $286,000, but it's not true and it's all a lie. But it looks really official, right? And then I'm reminded of the show, I think on WeTV, called Life After Lockup, Love After Lockup, whatever. And the rumor about that there's this one woman on the show who works as a receptionist somewhere. That's not a lot of money. And she was buying her inmate, $10,000 worth of new clothes and picking him up and dining him and buying him things. And people saying, how is she affording all of that on the salary of a receptionist? Well, hey, it's the internet. And somebody did a search on her unique name and found 3 COVID-19 business relief loans in the amounts of about $20,000 for each. Each one was taken over a month period, so she applied and received $20,000 3 times in a row. And I don't know if that's been forgiven, but people who know a lot more about this than I do say when she is found out that she took these loans and she's not a business, she doesn't have employees, you can, they're going to ask for proof. How was the money spent? Where did you spend it? Show us all of your documentation, and we're going to double check it with banks and internet exchanges. She's going to be in big, big trouble because it's a scam. The second thing I want to warn you about is an email that I received yesterday, and it was really, really well done. I get a lot of deliveries, and DHL has not been a favorite of mine, but lately they're getting better. They either come at 7 in the morning or 11 o'clock at night, and never during regular hours. But DHL is really an international company. They do a lot of shipping between here and China, and there have been protests around China and Asia, and things get stuck in customs, and they don't make it, and they come back, and they go forward, and they go out, and it's a big mess, really. But they still deliver. And I received this email yesterday saying, hey, your package has arrived. Now, this was sent to an email address I rarely use, so I immediately know that this is a fake. But I try to read these things pretending, if I were not just half-witted, but fully half-witted, would I fall for this? And the answer is yes. Hey, this is DHL. This is the tracking number of your delivery. It's cleared customs. Unfortunately, there are some duties and custom payments that are due, but they don't tell you how much. So click on this link, and it doesn't look anything like a DHL link, but people don't pay attention to that. They just click on this and go pay what you owe for customs, and then we'll release your package and it'll be delivered in a week. Now, people who don't know, or people who are not paying attention, or people who are just excited to get a package would click on that link, go to, I presume, what would look like a DHL website, pay their money, and then they've been ripped off. And they never get a package. Now, that's smooth. And that's very, very tricky. And especially if you're a big business and you have a lot of people working and, someone's in charge of deliveries and management. Oh, we have to pay a duty to DHL. And, if it's $100 or $200, there are a lot of companies who would just say, oh, okay, well, that's how much it costs. And they'd pay it. And then they'd be ripped off. So be very careful out there. When the economy's bad, they're bad people. And when the economy's good, they're bad people. So everyone's trying to get something for nothing. And they're all coming after you and me. And we have to be smarter than them and not allow them to take advantage of us. So please be very, very careful. Delicious home-brewed green tea. And it is refreshingly cold because I am still delightfully hot. And not in the boy toy way. Now, my friend, we arrive at a very interesting moment in this live stream on Boles.tv. Hey, it's BOLES on television, coming to you live and in person from the East Coast of these United States. And it's really an issue of a matter of trust. Do you trust people you meet? Now, I have learned that by default, you need to trust people, because to, by default, not trust people means you're going to have a very miserable life because you are thinking that everyone is out there to take advantage of you and to rip you off. It's not a great way to live, and as an INTJ personality, I kind of have the gift of sort of being able to anticipate what's going to happen before it happens. And other people don't really have that curse/gift. So I know where this is going. I don't want to go there, so let's stop it. That gets you in trouble because it makes people angry because they said, what did I do to you? I said, well, you didn't do anything yet, but I know what you're going to do. I'm not going to do anything. And then when I moved to New York, my first manager said, look, I understand what you're doing, but you can't do that. I said, are you telling me I have to wait for people to F me over, to screw me over before I can take any action? And my manager said, yes, you do. I said, why do I have to wait? I know what's going to happen. This is not going anywhere. It's not going to work. This person's going to try to take my money or not come through or make a strange accusation to get out of a responsibility. And I don't like people like that, and I don't want to work with them. And my manager said, tough. You signed a contract. That's the agreement. You can't do anything until something is done to you. That's how you have a good reputation. That's how you keep your name. So I thought, okay, I guess I don't know anything. So I said, okay. And in the end, I was right. It all fell apart exactly as I knew it would. And my manager said, well, that's good. You weren't surprised. That's how life is. And I said, okay. So I do trust people by default. And what's really interesting is, as we were talking about before, Midjourney, version 5. Now, Midjourney costs you, like $20 a month for a certain amount of fast hours, which means the bot will return an image that's created for you almost immediately. And then there are relaxed hours that are sort of unlimited, but you're in a long line. Some of the images this morning that a lot of people are complaining about have been in queue waiting to be made for over 45 minutes. With fast, it's, 10 seconds. So it's the difference between waiting 10 seconds for an image and 45 minutes for an image. But it's not always that way. Usually, relaxed can be as fast as fast. But if you're in a hurry, or if it's Monday during the day and you got stuff to do, you're going to pay for fast. So what people have started to do, I have learned as a trusting person, is to say, hey, you post these images that you make with the AI bot. Do you think you could create one for me? Now, some of these people, I don't even know. One guy said, look, I'm doing a album, and I just got out of the studio, and I need an album cover. Can you design me a guy looking at a spaceship with rocks falling, and, goes on and on in the description. And I said, well, what's your budget for this image? Because it costs me money and time to make an image. And there are people who write prompts for AI who get paid $250,000 a year to be able to do that, because not everyone can do it. And the guy writes back and says, oh, no, there's no budget. I said, well, you said you just got out of the studio. He said, yeah, well, that's where all my money went, was on the studio. I don't have any money for an AI image. This isn't costing you anything. Just type in the words and send me the image. So that person, I had to trust for, all of 20 seconds before I realized this person wasn't going to offer anything back to me of value and just wanted to take from me. So I said, yeah, I really don't have time for that. Thank you. And then there are other people who, you exchange conversation, get into debates with, for 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month or two. And I recently had a guy who I thought was sort of a friend of mine who said, hey, could you, make an image of Elon Musk is stuck on Mars with a spaceship leaving behind him, and make sure that he's wearing a helmet, but that the visor is down, or the visor is up and the hood is down, but he wanted to be able to see his face, but to make sure that his face had a protective cover over it. Okay, so that takes a little bit of time to get Midjourney to render all of that. And I didn't ask him, what's this for? Why do you want it? Because, we kind of talk about AI and things like that. And people make suggestions. Could you make that a dog instead of a cat? And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. Hey, what about this artist? Could that be interesting? Oh, yeah, I'll see what I can do. So I did all this work for a person I thought was my friend, a person that I trusted. And I sent him 4 images. I said, oh, that's great. I'm going to use the last one. He said, I hope it's okay with you. How should I credit you? So I said, well, you can, how do you credit me? You'd say image by David Boles in Midjourney, or image prompted by David Boles, something like that. So I made some joke. How to credit somebody. And he said, okay. And he said, and then later that day, he said, well, I hope it's okay with you. I hope you're not mad. So I thought, well, that's a weird thing to say. So I went to his profile and searched through his messages, and I found out that he was competing in some sort of AI image prompt story thing for money, trying to win $500. And at the very end, he wrote a thing, and at the very end is my image. And then in the thing that he wrote, he said, inspired by, and then it's some other person's name. And the inspired by, I don't know if he's talking about the person who's hosting the event. I don't know if inspired by is maybe he stole his written narrative from that person. But there was no credit in any way for me or Midjourney, no mention of where he got the image. So the default assumption by people who are not paying attention is that he created that image for himself. So that was weird and a breach of trust. And I think I said something like, oh, I saw your entry. Not what I expected. And then what can you do? You're online. You're not going to fight with somebody. You're not going to sue them. You just find out that they're a rotten person and they can't be trusted. And then you block them so you don't have to deal with them anymore. So that leads me into my next curiosity about these AI bots. Now, there are people who try to really create grotesque images, either violence or inappropriate sexual vulgarities. We're not talking about fun stuff. We're talking about people who are deranged. So Midjourney has, banned words, a banned word list, like blood is one of them, murder is one of them. Barren is one. Naked is one. Okay, you understand those. And I understand why they're there. They're to protect Midjourney from people creating really grotesque things. And so when you write a prompt, there's a quote that I like from Deirdre of the Stars, a hard and naked earth we'd had this night. And every time I try to get an image out of that, I get a ban prompt saying, you cannot use the word naked. So I changed it to hard and empty earth, hard and absent earth, abandoned earth. And it works out fine. It gives me back a great image. But you forget that there are banned words. Now, I guess some people all day are stuck in banned word heck. Somebody said, if you want to use the word blood, you say red streaks instead. So it's kind of silly because people can get around these barriers. And then yesterday I was working on a very interesting sort of project with Midjourney 5, and you create the images in Discord. And I've never had a problem with Discord until last night and today. And it comes to these ideas of these images that are banned. Now, what I was doing yesterday was doing an interesting analysis that actually worked out of a supermodel from Brazil. Her name is Adriana Lima. You can look her up. She's been a model since she was a young child. She's been photographed probably every day of her life until now, when she's older and married and has a baby. Okay, so it's a whole arc of a life, which means to me, as an AI art bot user, that means there's probably a lot of data out there about her, visual data, that can be used to create AI images of that supermodel. And they're images that don't exist except in the AI world. It's a very interesting sort of theory. So what I thought would be interesting is just to use 4 images of her as a child, a teen, adolescent, and then as a woman, to show the progression that AI can do over the arc of a life. Does the young model look like the adult model? That's what we're going to find out. That's what we found out yesterday. And the answer is, wow, yeah. Now here's where it gets super interesting. Images began disappearing on my iPad and my iOS device. Images of the swimsuit model, Adriana Lima. And that was the prompt. Adriana Lima, swimsuit model, young swimsuit model, in the ocean, that kind of thing, right? So I'm doing these prompts on my big machine, my Windows machine, using the Discord app. And everything's rolling just like we were using fast hours, getting back great, fascinating results. And then I began to notice yesterday on my iPad that mysteriously all these swimsuit model images were gone. Because normally on all devices, if you're running Discord, all the images, everything is the same. It all syncs up, right? So I'm looking at that. So I'm scrolling through and I see my pop art, paper art cats. And Adriana was right after that. But the last image that I was seeing was the cats, not Adriana. She disappeared. So I picked up my iPhone, looked at it, same thing. What? So I go to Discord. I look at Discord. It's all there on my big computer. It's all there. Discord on my iPad, not there. Discord on my iPhone, no Adriana. So I'm thinking, this is very weird. The images are getting deleted somehow. So I go to the main midjourney.com website, pull up my account. All the images are there. So this is not Mid-Journey doing something weird. So I'm thinking, okay, something's going on. Something somewhere is getting deleted. So I did some internet searches, iOS, to get into the Apple store. You can't have not safe for work images. I'm saying my images were not safe for work. They're a woman in a bathing suit on a beach. This is nothing sexual about it. The prompt has no sexuality in it at all. In a swimsuit, on the beach, in the ocean. Nothing there. No banned words from Mid-Journey, right? So I go back to the desktop, type in same prompt, but just doing it again. Shows up on iPad, shows up on iOS. Okay, fabulous. I guess it wasn't syncing up right, and I updated Discord on the iPad and the iPhone. And then I check 5 minutes later and they're gone again. I thought, now wait a minute. How can they just disappear? Something's getting deleted. So I go back. I do a little bit more research. I look around. Oh, you have to go in and make your Discord server safe, and you have to mark, the individual channels. You have to be over 18. I said, I've never had images disappear before, ever, on anything. So I went in and marked several of my AI bot places as, you have to be over 18 to view this, thinking maybe that would fix it. Did it again, Adriana, still on the desktop, not on iOS. I said, okay, is this an Apple thing? It's very bizarre. And if this were a horror movie, I would say I'm getting a little bit scared because things are disappearing that were there in 1 second and are suddenly not there. So I thought, well, maybe it's my Wick bot, which is very strict. It throws legitimate people off of my Discord server because it can. But I fixed that. So I go into Wick. I do a search, missing messages, not safe for work, nothing's there. I go into Discord, I go into the Mid-Journey, images disappearing from Discord, not there. So I think, well, this is very weird, but I've been saving all of my images, the ones that look really great, so I can make sure that I at least have them on my computer because they're disappearing off my iOS devices. So last night I turned everything off, come back in the morning, check my iPad, Adriana's gone. Check my iOS, iPhone, Adriana's gone. And then I look at my desktop, Windows machine, Discord. All of Adriana has been wiped out. And I thought to myself, now I know something weird is going on, and I have to figure it out. So I finally was able, for some reason, to do a search on Google for Discord images disappearing. And I thought I searched for that yesterday, and nothing really came up. And then I got a pop-up from a Reddit thread from 3 months ago. This almost the same thing. Discord images disappearing. I go right to Reddit. I start reading. I found my answer. It appears, dear friend, that Discord has a ban list of their own, but it's a shadow ban list. Now, this is called also stealth banning, ghost banning, comment ghosting. So when you use a banned word with Mid-Journey, Mid-Journey gives you an error message saying, hey, don't use that word, come up with another one, try again. And if you keep using that banned word, we're going to suspend you. Never happened to me. But every once in a while you get a strange banned word. So I thought, but what could be banned? So I'm going on reading this Reddit thing, and people are making the same thing. And it appears that one person said that Discord has a silent ban where they remove your image because they think you're violating their terms of service. And one of the banned words that they shadow ban you on, pretending that you never said it, and say delete your message, is bikini. Another person said skin is also banned. So I'm thinking, swimsuit is probably banned. Model maybe is banned. You can't know because there's nowhere to check it out, because you ask Discord, do you shadow ban images or people or they won't tell you because they want this to be a secret. So this is where it gets really curious. So the people in the Reddit thread, thank goodness I found them, said, so what you do is you go to your Midjourney account, which I did, and your images are still there, and they are. So what you do is you get the post ID, you copy it, then you go back into Discord. You use the show command, put in the post ID that you got from the web, hit enter, and then the magical image will reappear and stay. So I thought, and people were very upset, and obviously they were doing it 3 months ago, and they're doing it again now. Obviously, I do a lot of cats. I don't do a lot of swimsuit stuff on the beach, but I got bitten by that. And so I thought, okay, that's interesting. So let me see if I can just, write a few prompts that I am pretty sure will give more provocative results than what I was doing. Adriana Lima, the swimsuit on the beach. So I just put in all morning Adriana Lima on the beach. I didn't say model, didn't say swimsuit. Adriana Lima in the ocean. Not swimsuit model, supermodel, none of that. Just her name and a place. And of course, Midjourney, the AI bot, returns magnificently beautiful images of a scantily clad, imaginary, AI-created Adriana Lima in bikinis. And sometimes with no bikini on, which is like every once in a while you get those. You get a topless picture. Men are okay, women, people have a problem with. So I thought, isn't that fascinating that I can create more provocative images by going around the Discord shadow ghost ban for certain words and get an even better intentional result that so far has not yet been deleted by Discord. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to, because I started that process at 5 a.m. and they're still there. So this is a very interesting world in which we live, where machines try to tell us how to think and how to behave. And it's our job to see if we can get the same result we want without being grotesque or vulgar or insulting. But it is grotesque, vulgar, and insulting to be accused of something, shadow banned, that you are not doing at all, but that some bot somewhere thinks you're trying to get away with something that is inappropriately provocative. So these are things you should be aware of. These are things you should try on, try out, have fun with, and try not to let the AI bot ban hold you down. And that is our show for today. I thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. It's been a big rant. Hey, it's good to be back here on Boles.tv. It's BOLES.television.tv. I'm David Boles, and I will see you again soon next time. Take care and be well. Bye.